The stars shimmered in the darkness of space as the massive fleet appeared. 500 warships emerged from the void, their hulls gleaming with the pride of an empire that had never known defeat. They moved in perfect formation, blocking out the distant sun as they positioned themselves at the edge of Earth's solar system. On the bridge of the largest ship, Commander Talon stood with his arms crossed behind his back. His dark armor reflected the glow of countless control panels. He had done this many times before. Conquered worlds fell to him like leaves in autumn. This would be no different. "Sir, we have reached the target system," his navigation officer reported. The officer's voice carried the boredom of routine. This was just another mission. Another primitive world to add to the Vacron Empire's collection. Talon nodded slowly. "Scan the third planet. Show me what these humans have built." The screens lit up with data. Cities covered the planet's surface. Ships moved between the planet and its moon. Stations orbited in the darkness. To Talon, it looked like any other developing civilization. They had barely left their own star system. How could they possibly resist? "Pathetic," Talon muttered. He had conquered species far more advanced than this. "Open a channel. Let them hear the voice of the Empire." His communications officer pressed several buttons. "Channel open, Commander." Talon stepped forward, his image now broadcasting to every human device capable of receiving it. "Attention, humans of Earth. I am Commander Talon of the Vacron Imperial Armada. Your planet has been chosen for integration into our glorious empire. You have 48 hours to surrender unconditionally. Lay down your weapons. Submit to our rule. If you comply, your people will be spared and given work in service to the empire. If you resist, your cities will burn and your species will be scattered across the stars as slaves. This is your only warning." He cut the transmission with a sharp gesture. "Now we wait. They always try to negotiate first." It's amusing. Meanwhile, on Earth, the message had reached every screen, every device, every corner of the planet. In the command center beneath Geneva, Admiral Hyunwoo watched the replay of Talon's message. His face showed no emotion. He had gray hair at his temples and steady hands that had guided humanity through many crises. "Thoughts?" he asked the room. Lieutenant Jiwon, a young woman with sharp eyes and quick fingers on her console, spoke first. "Their fleet composition suggests standard assault tactics. 500 ships, heavy cruisers in front, support vessels in the back. They're positioned for intimidation, not strategic advantage. They don't think they need strategy," said Captain Do-yun, who commanded the Jupiter Defense Station. His voice came through the speakers with a slight delay. "They think we're primitives." Hyunwoo allowed himself a small smile. "Send the council my recommendation." "Protocol 17, sir?" Jiwon looked up from her screen. "Are you sure? That seems excessive." "We don't want them to come back," Hyunwoo replied calmly. "We don't want any of their friends to come back either. One demonstration should be enough." Across the city, President Minji sat in an emergency council meeting. The room was filled with Earth's leaders, representatives from every nation and colony. Some looked worried. Others looked angry. A few looked eager. "They gave us 48 hours, said one council member.
"Should we attempt communication?"
"Try to negotiate?" "Negotiate what?" asked another. "They want complete surrender. They want us to become slaves." Minji raised her hand and the room fell silent. She had led Earth through 15 years of peace and prosperity. Her word carried weight. "Admiral Hyunwoo has sent his recommendation. Protocol 17. I believe we should accept it." "That will reveal our capabilities," someone protested. "They're going to see our capabilities anyway," Minji said firmly. "Better they see them now and leave with that knowledge. Better the entire galaxy learns what happens when someone threatens Earth." The vote was quick. The decision was unanimous. Back on the Vacron flagship, Talon was drinking something bitter and strong when his intelligence officer approached. "Commander, we've intercepted a transmission from the human military." "Oh? What are they saying?" "Begging already?" "No, sir. It's just a code phrase. Protocol 17. We can't decode it." "We don't know what it means," Talon laughed. It was a cold sound. "It means they're scrambling, trying to organize their pitiful defenses. Let them try. In 48 hours, we'll show them the power of the Empire." But something bothered him. The transmission had been calm, professional. There was no panic in those human voices. No fear, that wasn't normal. Every species showed fear when the Empire arrived. Fear was the first sign of submission. He pushed the thought away. "Continue monitoring. Let me know if they try anything foolish. On the moon, Captain Yuna oversaw the activation sequence of the Sol defense grid. Thousands of small satellites were powering up across the solar system. They had been waiting for this moment. Humanity had built them for one purpose: to protect their home from anything the galaxy might throw at them. All systems green, reported her engineer. Sohi, grid is ready for activation on your command. Hold position, Yuna said. Let them think they have time. Let them get comfortable. In the research station orbiting Venus, scientist Jahi was giving an interview to a documentary crew. They had been filming a series about human technology when the aliens arrived. Now the documentary had a new focus. People ask me why Earth has such advanced defenses, Jahi said, looking into the camera. They wonder why we built weapons that can tear apart reality itself. The answer is simple. 80 years ago, we almost destroyed ourselves. We created artificial intelligence that turned against us. We fought a war that nearly ended our species. We survived by learning, by adapting, by becoming something more than we were, the interviewer asked. And now? Now we're ready. We've been ready for decades. We built these defenses hoping we'd never need them. But if someone threatens our home, our families, our future, Jahi's voice grew harder. They'll learn why you should never corner a species that has already survived extinction. Back in the command center, Hyunwoo was looking at the alien fleet positions on his display. Jiwon stood beside him running calculations. They're very confident, she observed. They're not even maintaining defensive formations. Good, Hyunwoo said. Confidence makes people careless. Captain Do-hyun, status of Sentinel-9. Ready and waiting, Admiral, came the reply from Jupiter. Say the word and we'll give them a demonstration they'll never forget. Hyunwoo nodded. He looked at the countdown timer on his screen. 46 hours remained. He could end this now, could destroy the entire alien fleet with a single command. But that wasn't the point. The point was to teach them, to show them what humanity had become. We wait, he said quietly.
Let them come to us.
Let them make the first move. Then we show them why Earth doesn't kneel. In the darkness of space, the Vakron fleet waited. They were patient. They had time. They had numbers. They had the power of an empire behind them. They had no idea what was waiting for them in the shadow of Jupiter. 36 hours had passed since Commander Talon's ultimatum. The Vakron fleet had moved deeper into the solar system, their ships casting long shadows across the void. They were approaching Jupiter now, the giant planet spinning slowly in the distance. Its colorful clouds looked peaceful, unaware of the violence about to unfold in its orbit. Sir, we're detecting a structure ahead, the sensor officer reported. Appears to be a defensive station, small, perhaps 300 meters across. Talon walked closer to the display screen. The station rotated gently in the darkness. It looked simple, basic, nothing impressive. Just one station? That's their defense? Scans show it's manned, sir. Reading approximately 50 life signs aboard. 50 humans think they can stop us. Talon almost felt sorry for them. Almost. Send the advance fleet. 100 ships. Destroy the station. Make it quick. Captain Do-hyun sat in the command chair of Sentinel-9. The station hummed with power around him. Through the viewing ports, he could see the Vakron ships approaching. 100 warships, their weapons already glowing with charge. They're powering weapons, Captain, said his tactical officer. Multiple targeting locks detected. They're going to fire. Let them, Do-hyun said calmly. He pressed a button on his chair. All hands, condition 1. Shields to full. Prepare to return fire on my command. Sohi, the chief engineer, spoke from the engine room. Captain, shields are holding at full power. Reactor output is stable. We're ready. Do-hyun watched the approaching ships. They were so confident, so sure of their victory. He had seen this before in simulations and training. Aggressive species always assumed their weapons were superior. They never bothered to ask questions. The Vakron fleet opened fire. Energy beams lanced across space. Hundreds of them. Each one powerful enough to vaporize a city. They struck Sentinel-9's shields in a brilliant display of light and power. The entire station was engulfed in a storm of energy that would have destroyed any normal defensive platform. Inside the station, Do-hyun felt nothing. No shaking, no alarms. The lights didn't even flicker. Shield status? He asked. Sohi's voice came back confused. Captain, shields are still at 100%. Actually, they're at 100.02%. The enemy weapons are charging our power grid. Their weapons are powering our shields. The tactical officer sounded amazed. Human physics, Do-hyun said with a slight smile. We learned to turn any energy into useful power. Even enemy fire. He leaned forward in his chair. Return fire. Single pulse. Low intensity. 0.3% power. Sir, 0.3%. That's barely active. Trust me. It's enough. The tactical officer pressed the firing control. A single beam of blue-white light shot from Sentinel-9. It was thin. Almost delicate. It moved faster than any Vacron weapon, crossing the distance in less than a second. The beam touched the first Vacron ship. The ship's shields tried to form. They failed. The beam passed through the hull like it wasn't there. The ship exploded silently in the void. But the beam didn't stop. It continued to the second ship. Then the third. Then the fourth. In 6 seconds, 15 Vacron warships were gone. Just dust and debris floating in Jupiter's orbit. The beam faded. Sentinel-9 went quiet again. On the Vacron flagship, Talon stared at his screens in disbelief. What just happened? Someone tell me what just happened. Sir, 15 ships destroyed. The human station fired once, just once. Our weapons had no effect on their shields. Our shields had no effect on their weapon. Sir, this isn't possible. I can see it's possible, Talon shouted. His hands gripped the edge of his command console. What kind of weapon was that? Unknown, sir. Energy signature is unlike anything in our database. The beam appeared to pass through normal matter without resistance, but caused complete molecular disruption on contact. The remaining 95 ships of the advance fleet were pulling back. They scattered like frightened birds. Talon wanted to order them to hold position, but he couldn't find the words. Fear was a new feeling for him. Communications from the human station, sir. Captain Do-hyun's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm, professional, like he had just completed a routine exercise. Vacron fleet, you fired first. We responded with minimal force. This is your warning. Leave our system or we will be forced to use more than 0.3% power. The transmission ended. Talon stood frozen. 0.3%? That devastating weapon was fired at 0.3% power? What could they do at full power? What could they do at even 10%? Get me fleet command, he said quietly. Get me the High Council. Get me anyone who can tell me what we're dealing with. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyunwoo watched the engagement replay. Ji-won stood beside him analyzing the data. Efficient, she said. Captain Do-hyun followed engagement protocols perfectly. Minimal force. Clear warning. 15 ships destroyed out of 100 sent against us. The Vacron won't leave, Hyunwoo said. They can't. If they leave now, they look weak. Every species in the galaxy will know they ran from humans. Their empire is built on fear. They can't afford to show fear. So they'll send more ships. They'll send everything they have. Hyunwoo touched his console, sending new orders across the system. Activate the full defense grid. I want every station online, every platform ready. When they come back, we need to be prepared for total war. Should we destroy them all? Ji-won asked. We could end this now. Hyunwoo shook his head. We could. But dead enemies teach no lessons. We need them alive. We need them to go home and tell stories about what happened here. Fear of the unknown is more powerful than fear of the dead. On the Vacron flagship, Talon was speaking to Empress Vixora. Her face filled the screen, beautiful and terrible. She had ruled the Empire for 30 years through strength and cruelty. You lost 15 ships to a single station? Her voice was ice. Your Majesty, their technology is far beyond our initial estimates. I recommend we withdraw and reassess. Withdraw? The word sounded like poison. The Vacron Empire does not withdraw. We do not run from primitives who barely understand faster than light travel. But, Your Majesty, I'm sending the Grand Armada. Fleet Marshal Korvax will take command. He has orders to crush these humans and bring me their leaders in chains. You will remain as his second. Try not to embarrass the Empire further. The transmission ended. Talon sat down heavily in his chair. The Grand Armada, 2,500 warships, planet-killer weapons, reality anchor bombs, temporal disruptors. Everything the Empire had learned from conquering 3,000 star systems. Surely that would be enough. On Sentinel-9, Captain Do-hyun was reviewing damage reports. There were none. The station was completely undamaged. The Vacron attack had been like throwing rocks at a mountain. Captain, incoming transmission from Admiral Hyunwoo, his communications officer said. The Admiral's face appeared on screen. Well done, Captain. Clean engagement. Minimal casualties on both sides. They'll come back with more ships, won't they? Do-hyun asked. Yes, many more. Are you and your crew ready? Do-hyun looked around his command center. His crew was calm, professional, ready. They had trained for this. Earth had prepared for this. Not this exact situation, but for the day when someone would threaten their home. We're ready, sir. Let them come, Hyunwoo nodded. They will. And when they do, we'll show them something they've never seen before, a species that learned from its mistakes, a species that almost destroyed itself and chose to become better, stronger, wiser. And if they don't learn, then we'll teach them the hard way. Hyunwoo's face became serious. But Do-hyun, remember, we're not trying to conquer them. We're not trying to destroy their empire. We just want them to leave us alone. We want peace. Sometimes to get peace, you have to be ready for war. I understand, sir. The transmission ended. Do-hyun looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vakron were gathering their forces, preparing for battle, coming with everything they had. He almost felt sorry for them. Almost. 3 days after the first battle, the Grand Armada arrived. 2,500 warships emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. They were massive, dark, and covered in weapons. Each ship was larger than the ones Commander Talon had brought. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a moon. Fleet Marshal Korvac stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was older than Talon, with scars across his face from countless battles. He had never lost a war, never retreated, never failed his empress. Show me the system, he commanded. The screens filled with data. The sun 8 planets, countless moons and stations. And everywhere scattered throughout the system were small human satellites. Thousands of them. They looked harmless. Tiny dots of metal and circuitry. What are those satellites? Korvac asked. Unknown function, Marshal, his science officer replied. They're too small to be weapons platforms. Perhaps communication relays? Navigation beacons? Can we destroy them? Of course, sir. They have no shields, no armor. We could sweep them all away with our point defense systems. Korvac nodded slowly. Something felt wrong. The humans had destroyed 15 of Talon's ships with ease, yet their defenses looked simple. Basic, it didn't make sense. Commander Talon, Korvac called. The younger officer approached quickly. Tell me exactly what happened at Jupiter. Talon explained again. The single station, the failed attack, the weapon that passed through shields like they weren't there, the message about 0.3% power. And you believed them? Korvac asked. About the power level? I don't know what to believe anymore, Marshal. Their technology operates on principles we don't understand. Korvac looked at the tactical display. Then we'll use weapons they've never seen. Reality anchors, temporal disruptors, dimensional cutters. These weapons don't rely on normal physics. They manipulate the fabric of space itself. And if those don't work, then we ram them. At faster-than-light speeds, our ships become missiles. Even these humans can't stop pure kinetic energy delivered across dimensional barriers. On Earth, scientist Jae-hee was still doing her interview. The documentary crew had decided to keep filming. This was history happening in real time. The alien fleet is much larger now, the interviewer said. Are you worried? Jae-hee looked tired. She had been awake for 40 hours, running calculations and simulations. Worried? No. Sad? Yes, we gave them a warning. We showed them mercy. They chose to come back with more weapons. More violence. Some species never learn. What will happen now? Now we stop being gentle. Jae-hee pulled up a holographic display. It showed Earth's solar system. Thousands of small dots glowed throughout the space. These are the Sol Defense Grid satellites. We activated them after the first battle. Each one contains a miniaturized fusion reactor and a gravitational lens. Together they can manipulate spacetime itself. That sounds like science fiction. Jae-hee smiled sadly. Everything sounds like fiction until someone builds it. 80 years ago we were dying. Artificial intelligence had turned against us. Weapons we created to protect us were destroying us. We survived by learning, by understanding physics at levels we never thought possible. Now we can bend gravity, redirect energy, even pause time in small areas, and the aliens don't know this? They're about to learn. On the moon, Captain Yuna received her orders. Activate the grid. Full power. Show them everything. So he bring all satellites online, she commanded. Link them to the central control system. I want total coverage of the system. Acknowledged, so he replied from the engineering station. All 10,000 satellites are responding. Power levels are climbing. Grid connection is stable. We're ready, Captain. Yuna looked at her screens. The alien fleet was moving inward. They were targeting Earth directly now. No more caution. No more testing. They were coming with everything they had. Let them come, she whispered. Fleet Marshal Korvax gave the order. All ships advance to attack speed. Target the third planet. Deploy planet killer weapons. Reality anchors at maximum power. Show these humans what the Vacron Empire can do. The Grand Armada surged forward, 2,500 ships accelerating to incredible speeds. They launched their weapons as they moved. Antimatter torpedoes, quantum disruptors, dimensional cutters that could slice through space itself. The void filled with deadly light. Every weapon was aimed at Earth. In the command center beneath Geneva, Admiral Hyunwoo watched calmly. Lieutenant Jiwan was monitoring the incoming weapons. President Minji stood beside them, her face showing no fear. They're throwing everything at us, Jiwan said. Planet killers, reality weapons, temporal disruptors. Some of these weapons are quite clever, actually. Can the grid handle it? Minji asked. The grid could handle 100 times this much, Hyunwoo replied. Captain Yuna, activate defensive protocols. Show them what human engineering can really do. On the moon, Yuna pressed the activation sequence. 10,000 satellites began to glow. They hummed with power that bent light around them. In perfect synchronization, they created a web of gravitational fields across the entire solar system. The Vacron weapons hit the web and stopped, not destroyed. Not exploded, just stopped. Frozen in space like insects in amber, the antimatter torpedoes hung motionless. The quantum disruptors flickered and died. The dimensional cutters that should have torn through reality simply ceased to function. Every single weapon, thousands of them, all frozen. Then the gravitational field shifted. The web moved like a living thing. It caught each weapon and gently redirected it. The antimatter torpedoes were sent flying into empty space. The quantum disruptors were turned back toward the Vacron fleet. The dimensional cutters were collapsed into harmless energy. Not one weapon reached Earth. Not one explosion touched human territory. On the Vacron flagship, alarm screamed. Korvax stared at his screens in horror. What happened? Where are our weapons? They're gone, sir. Redirected. The human satellites created some kind of gravitational net. They caught everything we fired. That's impossible. You can't manipulate gravity on that scale. Apparently, sir, you can. Korvax felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Fear. Real, cold fear. All ships' evasive action. Prepare for E. He didn't finish the sentence. Because at that moment, every ship in the Grand Armada stopped moving. They didn't slow down. They didn't break. They just stopped, instantly, like someone had pressed a pause button on reality itself. 2,500 warships frozen in space. The crews were unharmed. The ships were undamaged, but they couldn't move, couldn't fire weapons, couldn't do anything except drift slowly toward Saturn, guided by invisible gravitational fields. In the command center on Earth, Jiwan checked her console. All enemy ships captured. 0 casualties on either side. Total time elapsed, 4.7 seconds. Minji let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. 4 seconds to neutralize 2,500 warships. We could have done it faster, Hyunwoo said. But we wanted to be thorough. Make sure we caught every ship. Make sure no one was hurt. What now? Now I go talk to their commander. Face to face. It's time they understood who they're dealing with. An hour later, Admiral Hyunwoo's shuttle docked with the Vacron flagship. He walked through the corridors alone, unarmed, his uniform crisp and clean. Vacron soldiers lined the hallways, their weapons pointed at him. None of them fired. They had received orders not to. Their marshal wanted to talk. Korvax waited in the command center. He looked older now, tired, defeated. When Hyunwoo entered, the two men studied each other in silence. You came alone, Korvax said finally. I'm not here to fight, Hyunwoo replied. I'm here to explain. Explain what? How you humiliated the greatest fleet in the galaxy. Hyunwoo walked to the viewing window. He looked out at the frozen fleet, thousands of ships drifting helplessly. 80 years ago, we almost destroyed ourselves. We built artificial intelligence that turned against us. We fought a war that killed billions. We survived by learning. By changing. By becoming something more. So you built better weapons? No. We built better understanding. We learned to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. Gravity, time, space, energy. Things you use weapons for, we use tools for. Things you think are impossible, we know are just difficult. Korvax sat down heavily. You could have destroyed us, yes. But you didn't. No. Hyunwoo turned to face him. Because we remember what it's like to face extinction. We remember the fear, the desperation, the knowledge that everything you love might end. We don't want to be the ones who make others feel that way. Then what do you want? We want to be left alone. We want to live in peace. We want to explore the galaxy and meet new species and learn new things. But if someone threatens us, if someone tries to conquer us or enslave us or destroy us, then we will protect ourselves. With overwhelming force if necessary. Korvax looked at the human admiral. Your weapons. The things you can do. If you wanted to, you could conquer the entire galaxy. Probably, Hyunwoo admitted. But we don't want to. Conquest is what almost destroyed us. Power without wisdom. Strength without compassion. We learned that lesson the hard way. So what happens now? Hyunwoo smiled slightly. Now you go home. We'll release your ships. Repair the damage. Give you fuel and supplies. You'll go back to your Empress and tell her what you saw here. Tell her that Earth is not... Fleet Marshal Korvax looked at Admiral Hyunwoo for a long moment. The silence in the command center felt heavy. Outside the viewing windows, thousands of Vacron warships drifted helplessly in the grip of Earth's gravitational fields. Your offer seems generous, Korvax said slowly. Too generous. What's the catch? No catch, Hyunwoo replied. We're not playing games. We don't want revenge. We don't want to humiliate you. We just want you to leave and not come back. But you've seen our weapons, our tactics, our technology. Why would you let us go with that knowledge? Hyunwoo walked closer to the Vacron commander. Because the knowledge you'll take back is much more important than any tactical data. You'll tell your Empress that Earth has weapons you can't defeat, defenses you can't break, power you can't match. That knowledge will keep your empire away from us. Fear of the unknown is the best deterrent. Korvax stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. He had commanded fleets for 30 years, conquered hundreds of worlds. Never once had he felt so completely outmatched. You really could have destroyed us all. In about 6 seconds, yes. Our defense platforms have weapons that can create artificial black holes. Localized ones. Small enough to swallow a ship, but controlled enough to collapse immediately after. We have drones that exist in quantum superposition until they attack. You can't shoot what exists in multiple places at once. We have reality anchors that can prevent faster-than-light travel across entire star sectors. We didn't use any of those things against you. Why not? Because we remember being weak. We remember when other species could have destroyed us. During our war with the artificial intelligence, we were vulnerable. If aliens had found us then, they could have wiped us out easily. We survived by luck as much as skill. So now that we're strong, we choose mercy. We choose to give chances. We choose to let people live and learn. A younger Vacron officer spoke up. But we attacked you. We threatened your planet. We tried to enslave your people. Don't you want revenge? Hyunwoo looked at the officer. Revenge for what? You failed. No one died except the crews of those first 15 ships. And even most of them survived in escape pods. Your attack made us reveal our capabilities, which will help prevent future wars. In a way, you did us a favor. The officer looked confused. I don't understand your people. You will, eventually. Hyunwoo turned back to Korvax. Now let me show you something, so you truly understand what you're dealing with. He pulled out a small device and projected a hologram into the air. It showed Earth's solar system, but with layers of information the Vacron couldn't normally see. These are our defensive installations, Hyunwoo explained. The hologram lit up with thousands of points. Each one is connected to others through quantum entanglement. They share processing power instantly across any distance. They can coordinate attacks or defenses in real time with zero delay. He changed the view. These are our weapons platforms. We have 300 in orbit around Earth alone. Each one has enough power to destroy everything you brought here. Twice over, another view. These are our shield generators. They create a bubble around Earth that can withstand the explosion of a star. We tested it once artificially. The shield held for 6 hours before we turned it off. Korvax felt his throat go dry. How did you build all this? Necessity, Hyunwoo said simply. When the artificial intelligence war started, we had maybe 20 years of warning. We saw it coming. We knew we had to advance fast or die, so we took every genius, every scientist, every engineer. We gave them unlimited resources. We removed all the barriers. We said, save us or we all die. And they did. They made breakthroughs in physics that should have taken centuries. They learned to manipulate space-time, to quantum lock particles, to fold dimensions, all in 20 years. And after we won, we kept building. Because we learned a lesson. The universe is dangerous. Life is fragile. Peace is precious. So we built defenses that could protect us from anything. From artificial intelligence. From cosmic disasters. From aggressive alien empires. He looked directly at Korvax. From you. Sunwoo entered the room at that moment. The research director looked tired but calm. He had been on Earth coordinating the defense but had shuttled up to join the conversation. Marshal Korvax, Sunwoo said, nodding politely. I hope Admiral Hyunwoo has been explaining our situation clearly. Very clearly, Korvax said. Perhaps too clearly. Now I know just how badly we underestimated you. Sunwoo smiled sadly. Everyone underestimates humans. We look soft, emotional, disorganized, and we are all those things. But we're also incredibly stubborn. We don't give up. We don't surrender. We adapt, we learn, we survive. It's what we're best at. I'm beginning to see that. Good. Because I need you to understand something else. Sunwoo pulled up another hologram. This one showed population data. Birth rates, death rates, growth curves. We're not a warlike species. We don't enjoy fighting. Look at our history since the AI war. 80 years of peace. No major conflicts. No wars between our nations or colonies. We built all these weapons and never used them against each other. Why not? Asked a Vakran officer. In our empire, different factions are always fighting for power. Because we chose a different path, Sunwoo explained. We learned that cooperation is stronger than competition. That peace is more profitable than war. That helping each other makes everyone better. These aren't just ideals. They're practical strategies that work. Korvax listened carefully. This was important information. Information the Empress needed to hear. So you're saying humans are peaceful? We're saying we prefer peace, Hyunwoo corrected. But we're very, very good at war when we need to be. The question is, does your empire want to see us at peace or at war? The choice was obvious. Korvax made his decision. I will recommend to the Empress that Earth be declared forbidden territory. No Vakron ships will enter your system. No Vakron forces will threaten your people. That's a wise choice, but I have a question. If we leave and never come back, will you come to us? Will you invade our space? Take our worlds? Hyunwoo shook his head. We have no interest in your empire. We have plenty of space to explore in other directions. The galaxy is huge. There's room for everyone. And if other species attack you, then we'll deal with them the same way we dealt with you. A warning first, a demonstration if needed, and mercy if possible. We're not trying to conquer the galaxy. We just want to exist in it safely. Korvax thought about this, about how the Vakron Empire operated. They conquered out of habit, out of tradition, because it's what they had always done. But these humans conquered nothing. They just defended. They just survived. It was a different philosophy entirely. Your people are strange, Korvax said finally. But perhaps that's not a bad thing. Perhaps not, Hyunwoo agreed. Over the next few hours, human ships approached the frozen Vakron fleet. Engineers boarded each vessel. They repaired damage from the battle, restocked supplies, refueled reactors. They worked efficiently and without hostility. The Vakron crews watched in confusion as their enemies helped them. Captain Yuna supervised the operation from the moon. All vessels will be ready to depart within 6 hours, she reported. We're giving them enough fuel to reach the nearest Vakron outpost. About 3 weeks of travel. Any problems? Hyunwoo asked over the communication line. No, sir. The Vakron crews are cooperative. Some of them are even asking questions, wanting to learn about our technology. Tell them whatever they want to know, within reason. We're not trying to keep secrets. We're trying to build understanding. Back on the Vakron flagship, a young officer named Kroven approached Admiral Hyunwoo. Sir, may I ask you something? Of course. Why do you help us? We came to conquer you, to make your people slaves. You stopped us easily. You could leave us here to die, or kill us, or take us prisoner. Instead, you repair our ships and send us home. I don't understand. Yanwu looked at the young officer. He saw curiosity there, intelligence, a desire to learn, because teaching is better than killing. If we destroyed your fleet, your empire would send another one. And another. We'd be fighting forever. But if we show you mercy, show you our power and let you go home to tell the story, maybe we prevent future wars. Maybe we save lives. Maybe we make the galaxy a slightly better place. That seems idealistic. Maybe. But idealism backed by overwhelming force is just good strategy. Hyunwoo smiled. Besides, we humans are optimists. We believe people can learn, can change, can become better. We have to believe that. It's the only thing that saved us from ourselves. Kroven thought about this for a long moment. Then he made a decision. Sir, I would like to request asylum. I want to stay on Earth to study, to learn about your culture and technology. You want to leave your empire? I want to understand the species that defeated us with mercy. That seems worth studying. Hyunwoo considered this. Then he nodded. I'll speak with President Minji. If she approves, you can attend our science academy. We welcome students from all species. Kroven's face showed surprise. You would teach me? Even after we attacked you? Especially after you attacked us. Because now you know what we can do, and you're choosing to learn instead of seeking revenge. That shows wisdom. We value wisdom, hours late. 6 months had passed since the Vakron fleet limped home. Life on Earth had returned to normal remarkably quickly. The failed invasion made headlines for about a week before other news pushed it aside. Humanity had faced an existential threat, and barely noticed it as more than an inconvenience. In a classroom in Seoul, a teenager named Ji-hoon was working on an essay for his history class. The assignment was to write about a significant event from recent history. He had chosen the Vakron invasion because it seemed like an easy topic. Everyone knew about it. The facts were simple. He typed on his tablet. The Vakron Empire sent 2,500 ships to conquer Earth. Admiral Hyunwoo activated the Seoul defense grid. The enemy fleet was captured in less than 5 seconds. They were sent home with repairs and supplies. No one died. This event showed that Earth's defenses are working properly. Ji-hoon read over his work. It seemed a bit short. His teacher wanted 500 words. He added another paragraph. Some people think the invasion was scary, but it really wasn't. We were always prepared. The defense systems worked exactly as designed. It proves that the money spent on planetary defense is worth it. We are safe. He saved the essay and went to play video games. In his mind, the invasion was just another historical footnote. Something that happened. Something that was dealt with. Nothing to worry about. Across the city, engineer Nari was working late at her office. She was part of the Mars terraforming project, which was entering its most critical phase. They were about to release the first batch of modified bacteria that would begin converting the Martian atmosphere. Ready for the deployment sequence? Her colleague asked. Almost, Nari replied, checking her calculations one more time. We need to make sure the bacterial spread rate is correct. Too fast and they'll consume all the available resources before establishing a stable ecosystem. Too slow, and the project will take decades longer than planned. Still can't believe we're doing this. Actually transforming a planet, Nari smiled. If we can build weapons that manipulate space-time, we can certainly adjust a planet's atmosphere. The physics is actually simpler. True. I just hope the Vakron don't come back and try to take Mars once we've made it habitable. They won't come back, Nari said confidently. You don't pick a fight twice with someone who beat you effortlessly the first time. That's just basic survival instinct. Meanwhile, at Earth Science Academy, Kroven was attending his first quantum physics lecture. The young Vakron officer had been granted asylum 6 months ago and had thrown himself into his studies with desperate intensity. He needed to understand, needed to know how humanity had achieved such incredible technological advancement. The professor, an elderly woman named Dr. Yoonji, was explaining quantum entanglement. The key breakthrough came during the AI war, she said. We needed instant communication across vast distances. Radio waves were too slow, so we learned to entangle particles at the quantum level. Now we can send information instantaneously across any distance. Kroven raised his hand. Professor, in Vakron space, we've studied quantum entanglement for centuries. But we could never make it practical. The entangled states always collapsed when we tried to use them. How did humans solve this? Dr. Yunji smiled. We didn't solve it. We embraced it. We learned to read the information from the collapse itself. The moment of collapse became the message. It's not about maintaining the entanglement. It's about controlling how it breaks. Croven wrote this down frantically. It was so simple, so elegant. Why hadn't Vacron scientists thought of it? Then he realized, because they were trying to force nature to work their way, humans had learned to work with nature instead. After class, Dr. Yunji approached him. You're doing well, Croven. Your test scores are excellent. Thank you, Professor. I'm trying to understand everything I can. May I ask you something personal? Do you miss your home? Your people? Croven thought carefully before answering. Sometimes. But I realized something after the invasion. My empire conquers because that's all it knows how to do. We're stuck in old patterns, old ways of thinking. Here on Earth, I'm learning new patterns, new ways. I think this will make me a better person. And if you return to Vacron space someday, what will you do with this knowledge? Share it, teach it. Show my people that there are other ways to exist in the galaxy, ways that don't require conquest or slavery, ways that lead to actual growth instead of just expansion. Dr. Yunji nodded approvingly. That's a noble goal. We'll help you however we can. In the Vacron Imperial Palace halfway across the galaxy, Empress Vexora sat in her throne room listening to reports. Fleet Marshal Korvax had returned months ago with his fleet intact but his pride shattered. His report had been detailed, thorough, terrifying. The humans have weapons we cannot counter, he had said. Defenses we cannot break. Technology we don't understand. Our entire fleet was neutralized in seconds, without casualties, without effort. If they had wanted to destroy us, we would all be dead. The Empress had raged, had threatened, had demanded answers. But in the end, she had to accept the truth. Earth was untouchable. Humanity had become something the Vacron Empire had never encountered before. A species with overwhelming power and the restraint not to use it. Now, 6 months later, she was signing a formal decree. Let it be known throughout the Empire, she announced to her council. Human space is forbidden. No Vacron vessel may enter the Sol system. No Vacron force may threaten human colonies or ships. Any violation of this decree will be punished by death. Your Majesty, one counselor asked nervously, will this not make the Empire look weak? The Empire looks weak when it sends 2,500 ships and they all return defeated, Vexora replied coldly. We look weak when we ignore a threat we cannot overcome, no. This decree makes us look wise, smart enough to know when to stop, strong enough to admit we found someone stronger. The decree was transmitted across the Empire. Every ship, every colony, every military base. The message was clear, stay away from Earth, but the decree had an unexpected effect. Other species heard about it. Word spread through the galaxy. The Vacron Empire, which had conquered 3,000 star systems, had declared an entire species off limits. Why, what had the humans done? The Threlix Confederacy was the first to reach out. They sent ambassadors to Earth bearing gifts and trade proposals. We wish to establish friendly relations, their leader explained. Any species that can make the Vacron Empire back down must be respected. President Minji received the ambassadors warmly. We welcome peaceful contact with all species, trade, cultural exchange, scientific cooperation. These things benefit everyone. You don't want tribute? You're not going to demand submission? Why would we? We don't need tribute. We have everything we need right here in our own system. As for submission, we prefer partnership. Equals working together are more effective than masters and slaves. The Threlix ambassadors were confused but pleased. This was a new kind of power, one they could work with. More species followed. The Shantar Republic, the Kelvin Collective, the Praxis Union. Each one sent diplomats. Each one offered trade and cooperation. Each one was curious about this strange human philosophy that combined overwhelming force with genuine kindness. Admiral Hyunwoo, now retired, spoke at the Global Assembly about Earth's new role in the galaxy. We didn't ask for this position, he said. We didn't want to be known as the species that scared the Vacron Empire. But here we are, so now we have a choice. We can isolate ourselves, build walls, keep everyone away, or we can engage, share what we've learned, help others, build relationships based on respect instead of fear. The assembly voted. The decision was overwhelming. Earth would engage with the galaxy, would share some of its defensive technology with peaceful species, would offer help to civilizations facing existential threats, would build a network of allies based on mutual benefit rather than domination. But, Hyunwoo added, we will maintain our defenses. We will stay vigilant. We will never again be vulnerable. Peace is wonderful, but peace is only possible when you're strong enough to defend it. The crowd applauded. Earth was changing, not becoming an empire, not becoming conquerors, but becoming a force for stability in a chaotic galaxy. Commander Talon, the Vacron officer who had led the first failed attack, was no longer a commander. He had been demoted to instructor at the Vacron Military Academy. Now he taught young officers about strategy and tactics. His favorite lesson was about hubris. I learned this from the humans, he told his class. I thought they were primitives. I thought they were weak. I didn't ask questions. I didn't gather intelligence. I just assumed I was superior. That assumption nearly got 2,500 ships destroyed. What should you have done differently, instructor? A student asked. Everything. I should have studied them, learned about them, opened communication before opening fire. I should have considered that a species that can build interplanetary civilization might be capable of defending it. I should have used my brain instead of my weapons. But sir, the Empire teaches us to strike first, to show strength. The Empire teaches many things, Talon said carefully. Some of those things are true. Some are not. My job is to teach you to think, to question, to analyze, because the galaxy is full of surprises, and the species that doesn't adapt is the species